Good morning, everybody. We are so happy to welcome Ray Cheney, the creative force behind Folklore Florals and Events, which is a branch of Newtown party rental and open air affairs. That sounds very useful. We're going to hear about that. She helps couples and families and event hosts go from overwhelmed and unsure, what are we going to do, to confident, excited, yay, and fully supported, artfully designing events, curating your floral arrangements, reliable rentals. That is absolutely key. Not so glamorous, but totally key to the way your event is going to come out. And stunning venues all under one connected umbrella, which makes the stress of juggling multiple vendors just go away. She has been doing this for quite some time. I'm going to let her talk about the history and the present and the future, and I know it's going to be interesting. Ray, good morning.
Good morning,
Hi,
guys.
Ray. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Tell us all about you and your
Uh,
company.
yeah, I'm third generation owner of Newtown Party Rental. We've been around since 1982. We used to be just an equipment rental company, and then we transitioned to party rentals. My parents retired, and my husband and I took over. That and open air fairs are rentals, venues, event planning. We kind of bring venues and outdoor space when they don't have enough room inside. So that's how we kind
Hmm.
of connected Newtown Party Rental with venues and created open air fairs. So now we have these venues around the Bucks County, Philadelphia area that do have beautiful outdoor spaces because we brought tented spaces and reception spaces to them. For Folklore Florals, um, around 2020, we saw that a lot of our floral friends weren't able to keep the doors open. So we kind of jumped in and tried to help all of our brides kind of bring the flowers to their events. And I really fell in love with it. So now I make it my art medium that I love playing with and bringing that extra piece to the event planning world of open air fairs and Newtown Party Rental.
Oh, that sounds cool. What how do people work with you? Typically what does an appointment look like? How do they find you and then what happens?
Yeah, so we're really word of mouth or Instagram. So a lot of people find us through
Mhm.
those avenues. A lot of our clients are open air fairs clients because they just love working with us, which is nice. And then we just get to add the flowers into their wedding. We've had a couple clients find me at open houses. We just had an open house this past weekend where we did Enchanted Fairy Garden themed
Hmm.
Oh, how
ceremony that
fun.
was
Yeah.
absolutely beautiful, and people keep calling me about it. So I got 10 phone calls saying copy paste, that's what I want, and I'm like, okay, cool.
I love it. Yeah.
That sounds
Wait.
great.
Yeah. And you're in Bucks County, PA. What area do you serve? There's some beautiful venues there. I think there's some jam
Yeah,
hospitality
definitely.
group venues there that we've been to. There's also some landmark venues. What areas do you service?
Yeah, so we're primarily in Bucks County, but we've gone down to Philadelphia as well. I've been down at the Bellevue. I've been at the what is that cemetery down there? Uh, I would have to look it up.
Uh-huh.
But we did a Gothic harvest wedding down there. So tend to get the weirder clients that I absolutely love. They match my weird, which is nice. But yeah, we had a Gothic harvest wedding at, oh, I can't remember the name of it. But we did a full, like, she wanted dried things and bugs and moss and all that fun things. It was the woodlands. That's what it
Oh,
was.
okay. The Woodlands.
Mm.
I love things like that. Celia and I will get some Halloween weddings and we'll get some themed weddings here and there. That's always fun.
Yeah, my favorite wedding of all time was at Tyler Gardens in Newtown, PA. And the clients asked for Alice in Wonderland had a tea party with Elton John in an English garden. And that's what we did. And it was absolutely gorgeous. And we actually just got picked up by Philadelphia Wedding Magazine for a spread because
Oh,
they loved it so much.
wow.
Um,
Wow.
so I get a lot of those clients. Like we have a client this year that asked for national parks with Taylor Swift. I have another client that asked me for Barbie with Swan Lake.
Yeah.
And then I have another one that's Bridgerton meets Pride and Prejudice with the color red.
I love it. I love it. People have such visions, and what a wonderful way to personalize your ceremony and your whole wedding. It's wonderful. I will say, we will be putting a link to not only your website but also your Instagram. So because you have all of these pictures on your Instagram, and that's under Folklore Florist. But we'll put a link there so our listeners can just click directly on it.
Yeah. Yes, I think, when you're talking about things like flowers and visuals, the Instagrams are really key because they can see what you're doing. It's so in the moment. You've got a beautiful website, but you can really keep up with what's going on now. Um, that's cool. How do people work with you? Did they just call and tell you we want Taylor Swift and Godzilla? What's the process? What's the
What's the
process like?
process? Yeah.
Well, usually a client will book open air fairs or will come see us at the open houses and they'll come over to me and they're like, okay, we want this. And I'm like, all right. So we sit down for a design meeting. A design meeting with us is usually a 2 hour meeting. And we go through all the details. What do you want your ceremony to look like? What do you want your cocktail hour to look like? What is the feeling you want your guests to feel when they actually get on site? Do you want to wow them with the gardens? Do you want to wow them inside the tented area? Do you want a ceiling installation? And we kind of go through all those little tidbits of ideas, and then we usually ask them to send us their inspo boards or their Pinterest boards, and we'll go through those as well and be like, all right, we can do XYZ from your Pinterest board, but then for the actual pricing of it, then we'll put together our own visual board with pricing for them as well, so then they get to pick and
Mhm.
choose what they actually want for their wedding day.
And you work in venues and outside, it sounds like.
Yes, all of our venues with open air fairs is outside. So that's kind of cool because we get to work with all of the weather elements as well. So we've learned a trick or two as well.
I
Yeah.
bet. Oh my gosh. Tell us a story. Tell us the balloon story. I want to hear. You mentioned it. You brought it up. I've been like fixated on the balloon since you brought it up.
Yeah, so a couple years ago, we had a wedding at one of our open air fairs venues, and ceremony cocktail hour just ended, and we were getting guests into the tented area, and we had a hot air balloon emergency land in the field right next to us.
Ah.
Um, so obviously we got some beautiful photos of our tent set up and the balloon right there. And the bride and groom got some photos of the balloon, obviously. So it was definitely something that the bride and groom will remember for the rest of their lives. That's what happened at their wedding.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
so that was pretty fun. But we've been doing this for a couple years now. So we've seen some things, but that was definitely one of the funniest that has happened to us
Yeah.
in years past.
Could you imagine being the people in the balloon and then we crashed into someone's wedding?
I think that's like the best situation ever, frankly.
Right.
think that's like hilarious. Oh, I mean, it sounds like one of the things that sets you apart from other companies that do what you do is your ability to, oh, I don't know, turn on a dime and make make things happen. Is that accurate?
Yes, my team calls me the queen of the pivot.
Oh, I
Because you
like that.
never know what the PA's weather is going to throw at you. You don't ever know what an outdoor venue is going to throw at you. Um, I've had to deal with wildlife. I've had to deal with,
Uh-oh.
you get wedding crashers when you're at outdoor wedding venues. So you've just had to make sure that everything is going swimmingly for the clients and the wedding party and the guests, and they shall never know what happens behind the scenes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. They don't know how many times you had to pivot or figure something out in the last minute, and they just never know. As far as they know, it just went smooth.
Everything was fine.
Exactly.
That's exactly what we meant to have happen. We wanted that balloon to be in the middle of the cocktail hour. Of course.
Yeah,
Right.
we got it direct. We ordered it. It landed exactly at the right
Everything
time,
was
and we're
perfect.
golden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for the
What
ability to source your flowers, how long how far in advance would couples need to book you? Is there?
Yeah, so I've learned my lessons, of course,
Uh-huh.
throughout the years.
Yes.
I like doing everything seasonally and local.
Okay.
So if somebody wants something crazy that I need to get shipped in from somewhere and keep it in a cooler for 3 weeks, I'm not your florist.
Hmm.
And I like being more creative with things, so I'd rather use materials or things that are not typically used. Like I love a tambourine bouquet or a basket bouquet or, a lapel instead of a boutonniere, or let's spray
Hmm.
paint some things. So let's make it more you instead of just the typical wedding bouquets of things.
Uh-huh.
But most of my clients book me at least at minimum 60 days out from their event.
Okay.
I've had longer. I've had clients for 2 years. I've had clients for 6 months. I've had clients for a year. My shortest turnaround that I've done for a client was 3 weeks. I would rather not do that again. But her florist bailed on her and she asked me to hop in and kind of make it work. And that's what we did for her because it's about their wedding day and their vision. And we need to make sure that we're making it happen for them. And not failing them at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So you do, it sounds like you do like everything from like personal, the personal flowers to installations to, general decor for the whole situation. Is that true?
Yep, we do custom builds as well. Pretty much any idea you throw at me, we can do. We work with a woodworker and we also have a metal shop right next to us that helps me with my crazy ideas. So I've thrown some, and he's like, oh, I've never done anything for weddings before. So it's fun for him as well. But we made a huge moss wall last year for a fashion show. So it's a living moss wall that we did as the backdrop, which was kind of cool. So it took me about 2 months to get a full moss wall together, which was amazing. Um, and then we've also done that Alice in Wonderland client. We custom built 56 yarn chandeliers to hang over the dance floor to match his napkin colors. And then we also put like 100 disco balls within all of it too.
Oh, I'm
That's
loving the
beautiful.
disco ball thing. I really
Yeah.
am.
You
Gotta
must
tell
have a
you.
great team, a great creative team uh, working with you to get these things done. And this to see your artist's eye on your website, all the different things you've done, just beautiful. And how you can so you have different packages, your floral design, full design, and your installation.
Yeah, we have some people that just want a couple things for flowers.
Mm.
Some people just hire me to do the big installation because their florist doesn't want to do ceiling installations or anything like that.
Mm.
Okay.
So we've partnered with some other florists that are doing the personals and centerpieces, and they're like, you need to talk to Ray if you want a big, huge chandelier hanging over the dance floor. So we've done that too. And then we do full design. So if you want full design top to bottom, we come as your floral designers and event planners. And we do everything from your color and vibe, combining it with our, timelines and layouts. And we kind of do a full streamlined process for guests, which is the most smooth process that we have because then it's all in one. A lot of our clients at open air affairs get that because they want a smoother process and only have to talk to one
Yeah.
person through the whole planning process for their venue, their rentals, their flowers, their planning, and their custom builds. It's all one company and one team that they have to talk to.
That makes perfect sense. It really does. And it seems like if you want to do something besides, oh, we need, 3 bouquets and 12 vases, you need somebody who's, well, A, good at it, but who's done it before and is going to make you not be doing it yourself. We talk about
Yes.
this all the time. It's like, oh, well, we're going to do our own. It's like, it doesn't matter what comes after, do our own. We all know it's going to be like stressful.
You usually have to pass the puck off to someone else to do it while you're getting your hair and makeup done. So we
Right.
usually say if you're going to DIY your wedding, make sure all the stickers are taken off, everything is clean.
Yeah.
It's just a plop and drop kind of process for whoever
Yeah.
you're assigning that
Yeah.
to. Because if something happens, you're not going to be on site. You're going to be getting your hair and makeup done. So we
Right.
always try to go over like, hey, if you're DIYing something that's amazing, and kudos to you for doing it, but we don't recommend it because that 4 hours prior to the event is for vendors, and you should be drinking mimosas and having fun with your friends and not worrying about if your flowers got on your table.
Right.
Well, one of the florists that we interviewed, I remember, or maybe it was a planner. So, you have 75 bud vases. Where are you going to get the water? How's it going to get into the bud vases? Who's going to bring them there? Who's going to take them off the table afterwards? People, do it yourself. It's a lovely concept, and it's like do something that you can do ahead of time. Like watercolor your invitations like I did, which was completely stupid, but we did it like 3 weeks ahead of time. It wasn't like we
Yeah.
have 3 hours left and 100 vases to fill with water and we don't know where the hose is. It's just the stress, reducing the stress level by hiring professional people, especially if it's not something that is so not cut and dried isn't really the words I'm looking for, but it's like we have 20 vases. We need to bring them to a venue and put them on the tables. That's one thing. What you're talking about with the kind of things that you do, and I got this from, I looked at your website this morning. This is not that. Your cousin is not going to be standing on a 20-foot ladder hanging, flowers upside down from the chandelier. That is just something you don't want to do.
But
We've been requested for that though, so
I'm no, I'm sure, well, you want to do it, but they don't want to. I don't want my cousin Fred to do
no,
it.
you have to have a professional
Yeah.
like Ray to do it. And like Ray said, that those couple of hours before, that's for your vendors. I mean, there's nothing like walking in. We've all been there. You walk into the ceremony space and you're like, you've got some people still doing some DIY and you're looking around like, uh-oh,
and
uh-oh.
that's when as an open air affairs team member has to jump in and help. We had a
Yeah.
client bring 800 candles.
Oh my God.
And none of them were unpacked. None of them had
Right.
like the stickers taken off.
Yeah.
And the bride just looked at me in pure terror, and I was like, all right, we got to get it done. So we just
Yeah.
jumped in as a team and helped her out. And then, of course, during cocktail hour, who's lighting all the candles?
Yes, I
Right.
know. I think it's part of the whole, I don't mind the whole kind of do it yourself thing for people trying to, inject their own personality into these scenarios. And very often it is decor. I mean, I've talked to two people last night and they're both doing, oh, we're going to do our own flowers. It's like, and really? But and it's fine, except that most people don't have the experience doing anything on a large scale to know how long it's going to take and how difficult it is. And, on the morning of your wedding, you don't want to be like, where's the hose,
Yeah. And the flowers are a perishable product.
Yes, they are.
Flowers are very dramatic. I don't know if you've ever seen a hydrangea out in the sun. She's a very dramatic plant. So, as a florist, you have to know those things and be able to combat them prior to getting on site to a venue. And like, are you
Yeah.
repurposing things? Are you trying to move things from ceremony down to reception?
Right.
You know, it's all great in theory to be able to do it yourself, but we do recommend at least hiring a professional to do your flowers or have the open air affairs team. You drop off extra buckets so we can refluff because it's always,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
never know when you're going to have to pivot. And if we have the extras, then we'll be able to do it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true, and I feel like, for a lot of couples that, they have this very often more giant thing than they expected is going on. And at that point, just hire some people to get it together, or all your, your dreams and your vision boards and your Pinterest pages and all, it just goes out the window if nobody's there to put it together. And you don't want to do that. I did my own wedding, okay? I'm a pro caterer. I did my own. I would never do it again.
Right.
Never. Because even though I've done hundreds and hundreds of weddings as a caterer, it's like when it's your own, it's different. And if you've never done anything more complicated than take a bouquet from Wegmans and put it in a vase, you cannot do your own flowers.
Right.
You cannot.
I think there's the little things too, like she
Mm.
mentioned, who's going to move
Yeah,
floral designs from the ceremony space into the reception area and that type of thing. I got to tell you, one of my favorite designs I loved because you mentioned it, flowers on the ceiling. I love
I
the
love it
look
too.
of the flowers dripping down from
Mhm.
the ceiling. And I see you have some photos of that, Ray. And I know you talked about some beautiful themes that people had, but that personalized their ceremony or their reception space or their event. But are there any trends that you're seeing right now? Or is it all just basically personalized to their
It's all like for us, we personalize everything, but they have to at least match my aesthetic. My aesthetic is like I run through a wildflower field, and that's what your bouquet is going to look like. I'm
okay.
not a trained florist. I kind of like stumbled into it, and I love playing with plants and greens and different things. So when I start talking to these clients, and if they want, something different, then I can recommend people that can do that style for them.
Oh,
I
nice.
know I'm not everyone's florist, but I hope that the people that do book me enjoy working with me and they like the aesthetic that I put forward. Um, we're folklore florals. You
Yeah.
know, we're we're a wildflower whimsical florist style, and I'm not going to change my aesthetic because somebody wants the tight roses in a ball kind of things with jewels on them. That's just not who I am as a person.
Right, right.
And if I don't love your mood board and if I don't love the style of your wedding, I'm not going to be happy putting those flowers together for you. So I always go, hey, I can't do this for you. This is not my aesthetic. These are the people that I think you should go towards.
Yeah.
And I think everyone should do that as a florist or as a business owner. Sometimes you have to be like, hey, I'm not going to be happy doing this for you. I
Not the
think you should
best
pick
fit
somebody
for
else.
you.
No,
Absolutely. Not
I
the
think
best
that you're
fit.
absolutely right.
That's so great to know what you are, what your aesthetic is, and that I love your aesthetic, but I love that whole
Yeah, me
wildflower.
too.
My aesthetic is running through wildflower field. I love that. Yeah.
No,
Makes me smile, your aesthetic. Yeah.
who does what, you speak the same language, and I think that that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and I'm okay with that. And I hope the clients that booked me like me as a person and like working with me. We had a blast this weekend at the Tyler Gardens open house. Even in the rain, our models were really happy with everything that turned out, and we're starting to get the albums. And now we have our next open house over at Bowman's Hill Wildflower Preserve over in New Hope. That's going to be on Sunday,
Oh, that'll be
November
so
18th.
pretty.
So that's going to be wildflower themed. So it's definitely my aesthetic, and I'm really happy about that one. So I'll be running through the wildflower fields on at that open house and putting bouquets together for people.
Sounds good to me. I
That's
kind of like it.
great.
I kind
Well,
of like it.
I want to tell our listeners that we will have a link to Ray's website, Folklore Florals, an event company, as well as her Instagram site. So you guys can look at and see her beautiful work. And you can easily contact her through either one, through her website. There's a contact form. And find out if she's the perfect fit for your event
Yeah,
or your beautiful wedding. And
sounds
I
great.
thank you so much for joining us today, Ray.
Yep,
I
thank you so
love
much.
looking at your
Oh, I
portfolio.
do too.
It makes me smile. That's that whimsical, beautiful. You could just look at this and just smile. I love it.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for your time today and asking me on the show. And everyone have a wonderful day.
Right.
You too. Have a great one. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.